Hi everyone, welcome to Veronika Hug. So today I want to show you how you can do a patent ribbed pattern with your shawl. So we're going to be knitting today and you see what I have for now. So I just started this shawl and I tried it out until I was satisfied with the way my left edge looks, my left side, and I think this is really neat and has a really great effect and a really great structure. So I wanted to show you how you can do this as well, and I'm going to show you the right side as well. So that's the side that doesn't have any additions, so it just stays the same the entire time. And yeah, you can see what this looks like, and I'm going to show you how you can do this all by yourself. Apart from that, we have the patent pattern, some purl stitches, knit stitches that keep changing in here just so we have a bit more texture in our shawl. So that's what I'm going to show you for today. And I'm using here the bobble cotton from Woolly Hugs, so you can use the same if you'd like the same effect. And yeah, apart from that, you can try this out with pretty much any other yarn. I just wanted to let you know what I'm using in case you want the exact same thing. And I did try this out, and it's a little bit less visible than what I like to have in my videos. So I'm going to use what we usually use here, and that's the Woolly Hugs Charity, just because it's a little bit thicker and a little bit clearer to follow when I'm showing you this tutorial. So I'm using a similar color, but it's going to be the exact same thing regardless of the type of yarn that you use. So that's all I have to say about the yarn. We can get started right away. Let me move all of this out of the way, and then we're going to start with 6 stitches on our needle. Also, I do recommend something to mark your stitches with. It's really going to help you out in this project. So 6 stitches. So also what I wanted to mention is that this is a shawl with one side having the addition, so the one side increases and the other side does not, so it's going to have a triangular shape in the end. Okay, so we can move on, and we're doing a back row in purl stitches. And in these back rows, we're doing the first stitch purlwise as well. But as always, the very last stitch is always going to be knitwise. Then we're going to turn so that we can get started with our next row, our second front row. So we're just transferring the stitch onto the working needle, then 2 stitches knitwise. Okay, the following 2 is where our additions happen. So you see here 3, but the last one is the edge stitch. We never do anything with that one, so we're going to do the additions here. So first thing we're going to do is knit these together as if they were one stitch. There we go, thread through, pull a little bit longer than usual, then yarn over, and you do the exact same thing one more time. And then you have 3 loops on your needle out of just the 1 stitch that you did. Then we can let these loose, so let them just move on to the working needle, and the last stitch, as always, we do knitwise. Then we're going to turn, and here in the back row we're doing purl stitch as always, and the following stitches, so the following 3 we're also doing purlwise, then 2 stitches knitwise, and the edge stitch always knitwise. And as always, I'm going to mark the rows just so you know where we're at in case you need to rewind to a specific section. So this is row number 3 that we just did. Not that we just did, that we're going to do right away. in the third row, we're again in the front section. So I'm counting just the front rows. And we're doing the first one we always transfer, and then we're doing 2 knit stitches. So done together, and then a yarn over after that. Then another knit stitch. And after that, we have just the 3 loops, so the 2 that get the addition and the last edge stitch that we do as we always do. So we're doing these 2 next stitches together, then yarn over, and then we're repeating that one more time. And then we do the edge stitch, always knitwise. And then we have row number 4, which is our back row. So odd rows are always front, back rows are always even. Okay, these 3 we do purlwise, and this is always going to stay the same. The next 3 we're going to do knitwise, and the edge stitch as well. Row 5 is a front one, so we just transfer the first stitch, and then the first 3 stitches are the garter stitch ones, and we're doing 3 knit stitches for that. And now here starts the first stitch of our patterned pattern. And since I'm starting with just 1 stitch in this row, I'm doing a yarn over and just transferring this stitch onto my working needle. And then I'm gonna do the 2 stitches that I always do with the addition. So I do a knit stitch, then yarn over and another knit stitch and the edge stitch to finish. Okay, back row, as always, edge stitch goes purlwise. The next 3 are always purlwise as well. Then we do a yarn over and we do, or the stitch with the yarn over, we do knitwise. And then the 3 stitches that we just did in garter stitch, these we're doing 3 times in knit stitch, and then the edge stitch is always knitwise as well. So the 7th row is again the whole row, and I say whole because you see this little opening that we had in row 5, and that's exactly what we want again. So the first 2 stitches after the edge stitch we're doing together, and then we do a yarn over, and the following one we do knitwise. Then 1 yarn over and we transfer the next stitch onto our working needle. The following stitch we do knitwise, and then the last 2 stitches we do again together, and we do the additions there, and the edge stitch as always knitwise. The edge stitch we do purlwise because this is the back row. And then the following 3 we're again doing purlwise, so this always stays the same. And then we get to the patterned pattern. So if you remember, we do a yarn over and then we transfer the next stitch onto our working needle. And the next 2 we do together with a yarn over. And here I am at the last 3 stitches before the edge stitch, so these I'm doing just knitwise, and the edge stitch also knitwise. And just remember, in every other front row we do this little hole just so we have a nicer texture in the end. Row number 9, we transfer the edge stitch, then 3 knit stitches because we have a hole in the bottom. And now I have here the 3 stitches for the pattern. This one we transfer with a yarn over. The next 2 we do together with a yarn over. And the following one we transfer with a yarn over again. And the last 2 before the edge stitch we do together with the addition and the edge stitch knitwise. Edge stitch purlwise and the next 3 also. So we're at the pattern section, which means the stitches with the yarn over we're doing together knitwise. The following one we just transfer with the yarn over, and then the following 2 we again do together with a yarn over knitwise. And then the next 2 stitches we always do, the next 3 stitches we always do knitwise and also the edge stitch. Transfer the edge stitch, and now we're again doing the little hole, so we're doing 2 stitches done together knitwise. Yarn over and the following stitch also knitwise. Then the pattern, the first one we just transfer with a yarn over, the second one we do knitwise together, and the next one we also transfer with a yarn over, then we do another knit stitch. And then again, out of the next 2 stitches, we do an addition, so 3 loops total on the needle and then the edge stitch as well. And this way, you can see really quickly, so in just 10 or a little bit over 10 rows, you can already see what the edge looks like and how lovely and even it is. Row number 12 is a back row, so we do a purlwise edge stitch and then 3 more purl stitches. So you can also just remember that you always do 4 purl stitches in even rows and back rows. Okay, now comes the pattern. So the first stitch we transfer with a yarn over, the next one we do with a yarn over done together knitwise, and then transfer with a yarn over, again do together with knit stitch, so knitwise, and then 3 knit stitches including the edge stitch, that is a 4th knit stitch then. Now I'm again at a front row, which means that I'm just transferring the stitch. And then we're doing 3 stitches knitwise as always. Then yarn over and transfer. The next 2 done together knitwise. A yarn over transfer again 2 done knitwise. And the next one transferred as well with yarn over. And then we do the addition so that we increase this edge, and we do the edge stitch knitwise. Then, just like we said, a back row, which means we have the first 4 stitches purlwise. And then we have the pattern, so the yarn over stitch we do knitwise. The next one we transfer, then we do knit stitch, transfer, knit stitch. And then we're at the last 4 stitches. and these we always do knitwise in the back rows. Transfer the edge stitch, and here we have a hole again, which means we're doing 2 done together knitwise, and then another one just knitwise. And this way we get, so the edge stitch 2 done together to get the little hole, and then another knit stitch after that. Then we have a pattern. So transfer the first one with yarn over, then 2 done together, transfer with yarn over, 2 done together, transfer. And the following stitch doesn't have a yarn over, which means that I do it knitwise. And then here I also do the additions just like we did so far. Four purl stitches in this back row. Then the pattern, so we have a stitch that doesn't have a yarn over, which means we transfer it with a yarn over. 2 done two done knitwise, then again transfer, 2 done knitwise, transfer. And you can just remember this by just changing between the transfer with yarn over and then 2 done knitwise. So this always stays the same, but the number of stitches increases as you increase in size. And the last 4 stitches you always do knitwise and then the edge stitch as well. Transfer the edge stitch, 3 knit stitches, and then comes the pattern. So these don't have a yarn over, which means I'm going to transfer them with a yarn over, and the ones that do have, we just do them knitwise. And then when we're done with the yarns over, we have 3 more plus the edge stitch. So this first one here that you see, we transfer with a yarn over, and the following 2 get the addition, so the extra stitch so that our shawl grows, and the edge stitch always knitwise. And again a back row, 4 purl stitches. And then here I have 1 stitch with a yarn over, so I do that knitwise, and then transfer, knitwise, transfer, knitwise, till I have just 4 left. The last 4 we always do knitwise. We transfer the edge stitch in the 19th row, then we do 2 done together because we do need a little hole here, then 1 yarn over and 1 knit stitch. And then we start the pattern again. So transfer with yarn over and then 2 done knitwise, and then keep repeating that till you have 4 left. And then the 4th, we transfer with an edge stitch. Oops, not an edge stitch. We transfer with a yarn over. The next 2 ones get the addition, and the edge stitch we do knitwise as always. As always, 4 purl stitches, then we start the pattern here, so transfer with yarn over, and then 2 done together knitwise. And we again keep repeating that. You can see how quickly you can do this. And then the 4 leftover ones we do knitwise. In back rows, the first 4 stitches are always purlwise, the 4 last stitches are always knitwise. So I hope it helps if I explain the system behind it a little bit. But anyway, you can see here what it looks like and what kind of a texture we have for now, and it's going to keep increasing and it's going to keep looking even more and more beautiful. So you see how the shawl grows, and I think it looks really wonderful, and as I said, the more you work on it, the better it looks. And yeah, you keep repeating this for a number of rows, and then in part 2, I'm going to show you how to do the rest here on top. And yeah, I think this is good for the first part of the video, and then in the second part, we're going to continue and I'm going to show you how you can do the rest. So for now, you already know what to do, and you just keep repeating the same thing for any number of rows that you want to.